Hello, Ms. Benavides. Thank you for coming in to see me today. I'm glad you were able to take time out of your day to meet with me. The reason I have called for this meeting is so that we can discuss Elisa's progress. Last Monday, everyone in our class took the Iowa Test of Basic Skills. The ITBS is an achievement test that assesses a student's proficiency of major content areas in all subjects, which is also known as a complete battery test. I wanted to discuss with you what each score means, and please feel free to stop me if you have any questions.
All right, that sounds great.
So let's take a look at Alicia's test scores. First, let's look at the top portion. This part indicates the scores being achieved nationally, what we call the national norm. The bottom portion indicates how well Alicia is performing in each content area and explains where she is ranked in comparison to the national norm.
Will this test hold my child back a grade level if she does not meet the standard?
No. The data collected will have absolutely no effect on her advancement to the next grade level. This test is only given to find out which content areas the student can use more help in. The test is a benefit for all students and is no way displayed in a negative manner. The scores are all confidential and are only to be viewed by a select few. If you look here, you can see Alicia scored exceptionally well in comprehension. Alicia scored a 198 within the norm group. A scale score tells you what grade level the student is performing at. Currently, Alicia is performing at a 4th grade level, which is great. The norm group is basically the group her scores are compared to, and for this particular test, the norm group is the entire class. Alicia is also doing really well in the area of problem solving and data interpretation. If you will look with me on the bell curve, you will notice Alicia is in the percentile range. She scored a 71 percentile in her comprehension and scored in the 59 percentile in problem solving and data interpretation. You can see that she is sitting in the percentile band in both of the content areas. The percentages are the frequency of the scores relatively higher or lower than what Alicia performed at each content area. For example, in comprehension, she is ahead of her class by 71%.
That's great.
I know this is quite a bit of information, but in the packet I will be sending home with you, it includes her test scores, the bell curve, and a vocabulary sheet to help you identify terms and what each term consists of, so that once you get home you have a chance to look back over the information covered in our conference today. Do you have any questions for me so far?
Well, this is an earful of information, but can I ask you how you plan on taking this information and helping Alicia as well as the others in her class?
Of course. If you look below, unfortunately, Alicia has some difficulties with capitalization. I intend to take the content areas that display the most trouble and focus my lesson plan on making to direct and reconstruct the foundations of the content areas that are giving our class as a whole difficulty.
Wonderful. I was wondering if there was anything outside the classroom I could do to help speed up the process, but if you will be devoting time during class to direct attention to Alicia's specific needs as well as the others, I feel I shouldn't have to worry as much.
I will do my best to get Alicia performing at grade level in the content areas that she is not currently doing so well in. Unfortunately, we do have to discuss the areas that Alicia is not performing her best in. If you look right here back at the score sheet, you will notice her capitalization. There are 5 subsets tests totaling to 24 total items. This means that on the test, there were 24 questions dealing with capitalization. Subtests are a portion of the test which covers a broad subject area. If you take a look at the top left corner, you will find the subtest. If we go down the list, you will see that the subtests include vocabulary, comprehension, reading total, word analysis, listening, and if you keep going, there's a list of more. I know this can be overwhelming, but it's only a broad overview what your child was tested on. If you move to the bottom row of the results, you will see a more detailed description of the subtest. Let's take a look at that subtest of punctuation. In this section, we see that it breaks it down by end punctuation, comma, apostrophe, quotes, colon, semicolon, and correct punctuation. This is just a more detailed approach.
So how do I know how many questions my daughter got correct?
Yes, that is something we call raw scores. Raw scores are simply the number of items the student correctly answers. For example, if a test has 60 items and a student gets 43 correct, their raw score is 43. Let's look at some of Alicia's raw scores. We want to focus on where it says percent correct by student. Percent correct means when the raw score is divided by the total number of questions and the result is multiplied by 100 so that the percent correct score is obtained. If we take a look under spelling words and with words with affixes, we can see that Alicia's raw score was 100%. This means she answered all the questions in the section correctly. If we look under capitalization and names and titles, you will see that Alicia's raw score here is 50%. This means that she answered only half of the questions correctly. So when looking for raw scores, we look at the amount or percent the students answered correct. Do you have any questions for me so far?
Is there an easier grading way to explain this?
There is another important grading term that is usually a little easier to follow. There's a term that is called stay-9. A stay-9 is simply easy grading score that consists of a score from 1 through 9. On the scoring system, the scores 1 through 3 are below average, 4 through 6 are considered average, and 7 through 9 are above average. If we were to take another look at the bell curve and place Alicia's grades for listening, she would have scored 7, which is wonderful. But for capitalization on the curve, she would have scored a 1, which is not where we want her to be at.
Well, that's much easier to understand. But if she's scoring in the same percentile range, but she scored a 59 and then a 71, she's still in the same stay 9. So is that a limitation to stay 9s?
Stay 9s have a limitation just because they're not precise.
Okay, thank you.
I want you to keep this grade sheet for the ITBS that Alicia took along with this bell curve. So now that you have a general idea of how to read this performance sheet, you can go over it with Alicia when you get a chance and show her how well she is doing, and you can also show her where she needs some help. Try to be positive and show her where she is doing well first and applaud her for it. Then talk to her about all the areas where she could improve. Again, this is not a test that determines whether or not she will pass to the next grade level, but it's a tool that picks apart all the areas of comprehension, which lets us know where we can help her. Do you have any questions?
Is there any way that I can help her with her capitalization skills?
Yes, a good thing that you can do is read her books, magazines, and newspaper articles to her while having her look at the text so she can see the sentence structure, which will help her determine when she will need to capitalize a word. What I'm going to do to help her is incorporate lessons of capitalization when I'm teaching. I think this sums up our meeting. Do you have any questions or concerns that you would like to talk to me about?
No, I think you've covered everything.
Well, I thank you for your time. I hope to see you again soon, and feel free to drop by and see or call me if you need anything. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.